Good evening from our position outside Cardiff City Hall. Cardiff today has seen a brave performance from the Welsh rugby team against South Africa down at the Millennium Stadium. But a few hundred yards away, it's also seen the finish of the Network Q Rally of Great Britain, Britain's round of the World Rally Championship. Two drivers dominated the build-up to this event. Finland's Marcus Gronholm, who only had to finish in the top 5 to deny Britain's Richard Burns the world title. Burns the winner of this event for the past 2 years. Well, nothing short of rally victory would do for Burns on an event which for the first time was confined solely to the Welsh forests. Tiff Niddell and Mark James tell the story of the first 2 days.
The rally's first stage was actually on Thursday evening, a brand new super special in Cardiff Bay. Richard Burns and Marcus Gronholm, the two championship contenders, were the first pair to tackle what had become a mud bath. Despite the fact Burns led at the end of the first lap, Gronholm caught up on the second, the two setting exactly the same time. The equal fastest on the stage, however, was Burns' teammate, Juha Kankkunen. But once into the forests, Burns' car, rally and championship hopes took a bit of a battering.
There, deep flat right, minus in, and flat right, 40, easy left, go 60k left, minus tight, don't cut, and tight.
Hitting a rock had broken the wheel hub assembly, and 2 more stages lay between Richard and his service crew. Burns and his co-driver Robert Reed made emergency repairs by the roadside before nursing the car the 45 miles to service. Once their mechanics had repaired the damage, the pair could get on with the job of making up the minute or so the incident had cost, although the rest of the day wasn't without the odd drama.
Fast left, plus 20, fast left tight, and fast left minus 30, medium left.
Despite only being quickest on one of the day's stages, the Impreza had recovered to end leg 1 in 5th place overall, to the delight of the thousands of British spectators. Leg 1 held a mixture of fortunes for the Subaru team. Besides Burns' problem and then recovery, Petter Solberg went fastest on stage 2, but then lost around 3 minutes when he left the road on the next stage. Solberg and his Welsh co-driver Phil Mills then suffered a string of problems, including punctures and a broken suspension strut, to end the day in 18th place. The winner of the Super Special, Juha Kankkunen, had problems of a rather more public nature.
30, easy left and slipping starts.
Kankkunen and co-driver Juha Repa would end leg 1 in 7th place, seemingly unable to help their teammates bid for the title.
Championship leader Marcus Gronholm was the first into the forest stages, and the nervous tension of having to finish at least 5th if Burns won seemed to be getting to him. He was only 11th fastest. But if that gave hope to the opposition, it was soon dispelled when the Finn went quickest on stages 3, 4 and 5 and promptly moved into the lead of the rally. Now, that wasn't supposed to happen. By the end of the day, he would drop back to 2nd, but it had been a virtually fault-free performance from the man under all the pressure. Surprising everyone, the second best Peugeot for most of the day was that of tarmac specialist Gilles Panizzi. Winner in both France and Italy on his favourite surface, the Frenchman ran as high as 4th before dropping back to 9th as he lost time in the last 2 stages running in the dark. By contrast, his more experienced teammate François Delacour was having an awful time. As low as 13th in the early stages, Delacour recovered his composure to move just ahead of his French teammate into 8th by the end of the day.
Unlike Peugeot, the Mitsubishi team are on home ground for the rally. Well, almost. The team's actually based in Rugby. For the reigning world champion Tommy Mäkinen, the event isn't high on his list of favourites. It's one of the few rallies he's never won, and the cold and wet British forests haven't been kind to him in the past. This year's rally certainly didn't seem to break the pattern. Besides that spin on stage 4, Mäkinen and co-driver Risto Männisen-Mäki had to endure a string of problems on leg 1. Punctures, another slight off which damaged the suspension, and a poor tyre choice for the last pair of stages all lost precious seconds. By the time the Mitsubishi Lancer headed back to Cardiff for the overnight halt, the Finnish pair were 4th overall, wondering just when their luck on the Rally GB will change. Luck, however, is something Mäkinen's teammate Freddie Loix has in abundance. All bad, unfortunately, the Belgian retiring on stage 2.
Having announced their withdrawal from the World Championship next year, SEAT entered 4 cars for the Rally of Great Britain, and Didier Auriol seemed determined to see their season out in style, with regular top 6 stage times and rising as high as 3rd overall. Come nightfall, he would be in 6th, Harry Rovanperä 12th, Tony Gardemeister 13th, and Welsh star Gwyndaf Evans 16th.
Hyundai have had a difficult first season with the Accent World Rally car, and the team, like Mitsubishi, were soon down to 1 car. After problems on the shakedown test on Wednesday, the mechanics worked long into the night changing Kenneth Ericsson's engine, but all their effort was in vain. The new one only lasted until a few miles into stage 4. Alistair McRae and David Senior were at least still going, but more engine problems meant the British pair were 14th. This event last year gave the Skoda Octavia its best ever result, but Armin Schwartz and Louis Clement never really looked like equalling that 4th place. Schwartz was 15th, while Clement was 19th at the end of the day.
Early on, the Ford Focuses of Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz were impressive 1st and 2nd overall, but for the Spaniard, things went from good to bad. 15 seconds were lost with this off in stage 4. Then another 25 seconds were lost with 2 more mistakes in stage 5. He'd fight back to end the day in 3rd. By contrast, Colin McRae and Nicky Grist had a relatively trouble-free run. Just 1 mistake in stage 5, the only blot in their copybook.
2 left plus, tightens.
Fastest through the dark stages 7 and 8, they would lead the rally by nearly 20 seconds when the crews returned to Cardiff.
The rally leaders going into leg 2, Colin McRae and Nicky Grist, were quickest on 2 of the first 3 of the day's stages, extending their advantage to over 45 seconds and hardly putting a wheel wrong.
Left 100, turn 2 left plus, tightens. Don't cut. .70, 6 crest, into 6 right, 150. K, 6 right, tightens over crest and turn 3 right minus, tightens.
Their teammates Carlos Sainz and Luis Moya were struggling with a car that wouldn't handle properly at times. The slippery conditions were also causing a few anxious moments for the Spaniards, who were relieved no doubt to get through the day and return to Cardiff in 3rd place. Tapio Laukkanen's Focus dropped out of contention after losing half an hour stuck in a ditch, but at least the Finn was still in the event, unlike the rally leader.
4 right minus cut. 150, 6 left minus tightens line, into 4 right minus cut, hole outside. And 6 left, opens long.
That accident on stage 12 only delayed Colin McRae for around half a minute. But, unbeknown to the crew, the car's radiator had been damaged, and so they pulled up shortly afterwards rather than blow the engine.
And 6 left open. Long.
The damage to the Focus was clear to see, as was the disappointment on the faces of both McRae and Grist, who'd hoped to end a frustrating season with a win. They were soon on their way again, but this time it was Grist at the wheel.
Tommy Mackinnon's wild ride up and down the leaderboard continued into leg 2 as he flung his Mitsubishi through the stages in spectacular style. He may be about to give up his world crown, but he hasn't given up trying.
4, huomio pitkä nyppy vasemmalle ja servo oikein. 10, vasen nopea aukee, vasen nopea sisältä aukee. Ja vasen 4, huomio nyppy 5. Perkele, mikäs näin?
That plunge into the scenery on stage 10 incredibly only cost him about 20 seconds, but dropped him from 4th to 5th. There would be more mistakes before the day was over, yet he would end leg 2 just 0.3 of a second behind Sainz in 4th.
The weather on the morning of leg 2 was dreadful, low cloud and a persistent drizzle, just the conditions when you really need reliable windscreen wipers, as Skoda's Armin Schwarz discovered on the day's very first stage.
Into right 3 to 4 opens. 80. Right 5 opens. 50 over crest, left 5 short minus.
The German wasn't happy.
Finish right 3 long over crest minus.
So eine verreckte Scheiße! Schau dir den Mist an, du!
Far from being the send-off Seat were hoping for, the rally was running true to form for the Spanish team. Didier Auriol's car misfired its way through the event's longest stage and the Frenchman dropped to 9th, with Harry Rovanperä 10th. But local hero Gwyndaf Evans retired on the day's first stage with clutch failure. For Tony Gardemeister in the team's other car, like Armin Schwarz's Skoda, visibility was an issue.
Oikein täysmiinus yli 8. Asema. Jäi sun kiinni toi auki toi.
That happened not once, but twice on stage 10. The end of the stage saw Gardemeister resorting to some fancy footwork to try to close the bonnet, but the damage had been done, and he was now 12th.
Hyundai's hopes of a good result now lay squarely on the shoulders of Alistair McRae in the sole surviving Accent. He also had a bonnet threatening to open in his face, but would be more concerned by a hold sump that leaked away all his oil. Somehow he survived it all, and the spectacular Scot rose from 14th to 11th by the end of the day.
Colin McRae's retirement hadn't helped Peugeot, but Gronholm knew what had to be done. 5th place or higher would give him the driver's crown, regardless of what Burns did. Marcus and his co-driver Timo Rautiainen were now pacing themselves, although you wouldn't have known from the stage times. Never out of the top 5 in the list, the Finns ended the day in 2nd place. Francois Delacour and Daniel Grateloop would be 6th by the time the crews returned to Cardiff. The pair concerned about the level of grip they were getting on the slippery gravel, but otherwise satisfied with the day's work. Gilles and Hervé Perizzi meanwhile were up to 7th, their confidence on gravel growing stage by stage.
Richard Burns started the day with his 2nd stage win, pushing his Subaru right to the limit.
70, right max 40, slight left and slight right, slight left and right 80, left max 20, flat left plus 80 braking, crest 20, slow K left. To K left minus, definitely don't cut. And K left 30, flat right. To flat right, 60, flat right minus, stone.
teammate Juha Kankkunen continued to be there or thereabouts, but showed no signs of being able to help Richard by overhauling Gronholm, while young Petter Solberg continued to do his own thing. Having dropped back to 78th position, he was gamely battling back up the leaderboard and would be 13th by the end of leg 2, fastest on the day's final super special. With Colin McRae's spectacular exit, one of Richard Burns' problems had been removed. Now he had to catch Gronholm and take the lead, which he duly did on the day's penultimate stage. But he still needed 4 other cars to overtake the Finn, and that looked unlikely.
But it was possible. So after 2 days, it was all set for an intriguing finish on this final day. Richard Burns, courtesy of Colin McRae's exit, was in the lead and needed to stay there. Marcus Gronholm solidly in second, needed to keep going through the 3 remaining stages. Sainz, Mäkinen, Kankkunen and Delacour completed the point-scoring positions. So into this final day, just 3 stages, Brechve, Troskoid, and in front of our live cameras at Margam Country Park. A total of just over 52 miles between Richard Burns and victory and Marcus Gronholm and the world title. Mark James tells the story of the day's first 2 stages.
The rally's 15th special stage, an 18.5 miler, was the first of 2 in the Brechve forest north of Carmarthen, an area the rally hasn't visited for a few years, although the conditions somehow seemed familiar. Rally leaders Richard Burns and Robert Reid were again quickest, yet the pair insisted they were cruising. Burns reportedly saying they were only giving it about 70%.
Slight right to leftish, jump maybe, 70, left max 80, crest 20, flat right plus 40, left max 120.
Marcus Gronholm knew that he was now just 3 stages away from the world title. 6th fastest through Brechve, Gronholm, like Burns, was driving to finish.
130. Oikealle 5 ja vasen hidas risteys.
It was left to Francois Delacour to head the timesheets as far as Peugeot were concerned. 2nd fastest on the stage, just 0.8 of a second behind Burns. Delacour was now a little under 5 seconds away from snatching 5th place from Juha Kankkunen's Subaru. The Finn, co-driven by Juha Repo, was 5th quickest, commenting that the final day's stages were far more slippery than those on leg 2. Petter Solberg and co-driver Phil Mills were 3rd quickest through Brechve, but was still over 30 seconds away from taking 11th place. Carlos Sainz was the man who split the Subarus on the stage, 4th quickest, but more importantly 5 places better than Tommy Mäkinen. The ding-dong battle between the Ford and the Mitsubishi looks set to go down to the wire. Mäkinen, though, had other things to worry about besides Sainz. The reigning world champion now had Kankkunen breathing down his neck, just 0.8 of a second behind, and with Delacour now on a charge, 3rd to 6th places were now separated by just over 20 seconds. Behind that scrap, Didier Auriol found it hard going through Brechve. A 60-metre slide through the mud caused Auriol and co-driver Denis Giraudet a few anxious moments. Harry Rovanpera was still 10th after completing Brechve around 3.5 seconds slower than his teammate. Spongy brakes were being blamed and they wouldn't be changed until after the next stage. Alistair McRae was again suffering from a bonnet which looked as though it might lift at any moment. He and David Senior were 12th fastest. Skoda's Armin Schwarz was another driver critical of the conditions, not the mud, but the low sun, while his teammate, 17th placed Lewis Clement, is on his last event for Skoda, but his farewell wasn't going particularly well. Tapio Laukkanen was equal 6th quickest, all hopes of a good result having gone following the half hour spent in a ditch yesterday, but the former British champion wasn't giving up just yet. Another privateer crew, Marco Martin and British co-driver Michael Park, were 2.5 seconds slower than the Focus. The Corolla, though, was still 8th overall, over 53 seconds clear of the man in 9th, Didier Auriol. The Traus-Coed stage, the event's penultimate test, was a 16-mile affair, but the sun was climbing higher in the sky, and it was actually starting to look like a nice day. Richard Burns' tactics were now clear. He was second fastest on the stage, determined to take his third successive victory on the event. Even if the World Drivers' Championship is now out of his hands, a win would be an almost perfect way to round off the season. Marcus Gronholm has driven brilliantly, not only in the Welsh forests but all season. Only the most ardent of Richard Burns fans would deny that Marcus deserves the title, the Finn being one of the genuinely nice guys in the championship circus. The Peugeot was 4th quickest on Traus-Coed, so now only the Margam stage stood between Gronholm and the crown. Carlos Sainz knows only too well the event's not over until the car reaches the finish ramp, so he may well have warned Gronholm about Margam's reputation for springing a few surprises. Yet again, the event looked to be cruel to Sainz on its final day. The Focus now back to 4th once again. The reason? Tommy Mackinnon's stunning performance on stage 16. Faster than Sainz by over 16 seconds, the Mitsubishi was 3rd again, but with just 1.2 seconds between the pair, their times from Margam will be something to keep an eye on.
Okay, but pitkä oikein, täys 120.
Juha Kankkunen, meanwhile, had slipped a place after only setting the 7th quickest time on the stage. Kankkunen was now 6th, although the four-way fight was still very much alive. It was now the Peugeot 206 of Francois Delacour which was 5th, after the Frenchman again flew through the stage. 2.4 seconds ahead of Kankkunen, Delacour would go into the last stage nearly 15 down on Sainz, so 4th place looked unlikely, though by no means impossible. 7th place, Gilles Panizzi was 13th quickest through Traus-Coed. Peugeot's performance this weekend has been nothing short of superb, but there was one possible cloud on Panizzi's horizon. Marco Martin now a little over 17 seconds behind Gilles. Didier Auriol had recovered from his adventures in the mud of the first breakfast stage. Barring any problems, Auriol should finish in 9th, with Harry Rovanperä 10th, a low-key end to Seat's World Rally campaign. Alistair McRae hit a tree branch on stage 16, breaking the Hyundai's windscreen. 8th quickest, McRae and co-driver David Senior will be glad to get back to Cardiff. This event's not been particularly kind to them. But the event's sting-in-the-tail reputation was about to strike. On the rally's penultimate stage, there was disappointment for Petter Solberg and Phil Mills. Their Subaru, which led the rally briefly on leg 1, crashed into a tree almost within sight of the stage finish. An engine fire was quickly extinguished, but the Impreza refused to restart, leaving a bitterly disappointed Solberg to survey the damage.
We came into a slow hairpin right down here, and came inside, and out of the corner we had the inside wheel, the right wheel inside in the corner, and it hit a little bit in the mud, and it hit the tree inside of the corner, so unlucky. It's too bad it was so close to the finish, but that's life.
One more stage to go, and all the pressure on Marcus Gronholm to survive it intact, to take the world title. Richard Burns could do no more than make sure that he stayed ahead. Peter Slater was at the all-important service after the penultimate stage.
The Pembrey circuit to the west of Swansea is more used to a different kind of motor racing. In the quiet after last night's storms, this is where the Peugeot and Subaru mechanics were camped, side by side in the service park. There was nothing they could do yet, except watch and wait for news from the front line.
1632. Thank you.
With Richard Burns and Marcus Gronholm safely arrived, the mechanics' job was to prepare the cars for one final assault, the last stage of the rally at Margam. After that, it was up to the drivers. Whatever the conditions and however they've been going so far, it's only then that we'll know who is the new World Rally Champion.
Have you thought about this day and in the past that this could be, well, this is the day I could be World Champion when you were maybe growing up? Is something you'd thought about?
Not really. This year has been so much better what I expect, so maybe it will be true after one stage, but we see.
And Margam, of course, will decide it.
Yes, of course, yes. It will be okay.
You think it's going to be okay?
Yes, yes.
For me, I just have to concentrate on watching the road and listening to Robert and keeping in one piece.
You're almost, it's like you're just doing it on your own, which is, I suppose, the essence of rally driving. You can't compare yourself with anybody else because that's completely out of your hands.
The stages are very, very slippery, as you can see. Both Petter and Tapio have been off this morning, and it's easy to see why. You know, there's lots of very difficult places, and I don't intend to get caught out by any of those.
And it's not over until you reach the end of Margam?
No, not by a long way, but I expect everything will stay like it is.
Richard Burns philosophical, Marcus Gronholm seemingly confident, but anyone who thought that this final stage would be a routine cruise to victory need only think back a couple of years to the desperate frustration of Carlos Sainz, who suffered engine failure on the last few hundred yards of this Margam stage, and the world title that had seemed his for sure instead went back to Tommy Mäkinen. The frustration of Sainz and co-driver Luis Moya graphically showed how agonizingly unpredictable rallying can be. So Gronholm and Burns would approach Margam with some trepidation. 17.5 miles. Our live cameras would be concentrated on the start and finish areas, and our helicopter camera would follow the progress of Marcus Gronholm in particular. Commentators were Tiff Niddell and Lee Diffie.
And there's Marcus Gronholm, the man who has a 9-point advantage. He is about to begin this 17.5 mile stage. This is the run from start to World Championship in his rookie year. A faultless run will see him grab the crown. Didier Auriol and Denis Girardet bringing the final say at home through that tough right-hander. Not much to go.
Yeah, one more short straight. He's 30 seconds behind 8th place going into this stage, so it's going to be tough to make that up. He did run, so he ran as high as 3rd overall at one stage in this rally, but then had that misfiring engine, a lot of problems, dropped him back. It hasn't quite been the finale he wants. He wants to look at a Peugeot drive to the Oral. He wants to make a big name for himself to get back in a front-running team. But at least he's finished the Rally of Great Britain, just 1.4 seconds down on Schwartz. A great time by Schwartz earlier on.
Here is Richard Burns, well on his way to creating a bit of history as well. No British driver has ever won 3 Rally of Great Britains in a row. So a very special day for Richard Burns. Will something happen to Marcus Gronholm? We will wait and see. These are live pictures of the World Championship leader carving his way through the Welsh forest on his way towards Margam Park.
Marco Martin is 8th going into this stage. It's been a great result for him. He's already been signed up by the Subaru team for next year. He's going to be part of the works package. So a great career ahead for this Estonian young man.
We saw him drive for the Subaru World Rally team in Rally Australia just 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, he retired on the first day and didn't get much of a run in the Subaru. But he's had a brilliant run here at Rally of Great Britain. Will he be fastest? Marco Martin, he is, by some 31.5 seconds. Look at these beautiful shots from our chopper.
Don't look left though, Marcus. Don't look left. Keep your eyes peeled on that road ahead. Incredible when you see the drops each side of these rally cars, but the drivers have only got eyes for that thin strip ahead. Everybody thought Panizzi would come here and run in about 30th or 40th overall. He's surprised everybody. He's really got his act together here this year on the loose and matured as an overall rally driver. The question is, can he finish this stage within 7.2 seconds of the time that Martin just set to keep hold of his 7th place? He's coming to the line now. As you said, it's not the conditions he likes. The muddier it gets, the more nervous he gets.
He's only competed in 6 rallies this year, so to have 2 wins from that, as we said, he is a tarmac specialist, but it's been a very good run, and these Peugeot 206s have been brilliant. Watch the time here. He comes across and is not faster than Marco Martin.
No, he's 18 seconds slower, so that's a swap of places we've seen there. Panizzi 7.2 seconds ahead of Martin going into the stage. He's going to drop down to 8th, and Marco Martin moves up to a potential 7th, assuming all those ahead still finish this rally. That's the mid-stage point, so he's still well on course. He's halfway through this final stage there, the clock says it. There's Delacour finishing. Now he needs a quick time to stay ahead of Kankkunen. 11.4 seconds slower than Martin, but still fairly impressive.
That's it. 2 Peugeots down, just 1 to go. We know who that is.
All eyes now moving towards the clock. 17 minutes, 13.0 seconds his time to move ahead of Delacour and go back into 5th place on this final corner of this final stage. And he should do that with 1.5 seconds to spare, so that moves Kankkunen back ahead of Delacour.
From one Subaru driver to another, let's take a look at Richard Burns, the leader of the 2000 Rally of Great Britain. He's on his way to a spectacular finish. This is halfway in. Keep in mind it is a reasonably long stage, 17.5 miles. Certainly not the longest on the rally, but plenty of work for them to do on the final day. Tommy Mäkinen, this is where he came to grief yesterday around one of these tight right-handers, but he gets it right today. And a very special moment for Phil Short, the team manager of this organisation. He says farewell and bows out with a very illustrious career. He's seen World Championships. He's taken Tommy to a World Championship as well as other drivers. And let's see what time Mäkinen can come up with here, because it's close between he and Sainz.
Yeah, Mäkinen was just 1.2 seconds ahead of Sainz, but he's well quickest there, so he's definitely going to stay ahead of Kankkunen and Delacour. So Mäkinen will definitely be in the top 4. The question is, can that 1.2 seconds advantage he had over Sainz when he moved ahead of him in the last stage hold on to the end of the rally? Still going strong, 14 minutes 29 into the stage, and looking in total control of this championship and this rally right at the moment. Sainz has had a very depressing rally. He hasn't got together with the car, he hasn't liked the handling of the car, hasn't managed to change it to suit his style, and has been off the pace most of the time, and just solid driving has kept him in the top points. So it looks like it's going to be 4th place for Carlos Sainz.
Through this tight right-hander for the final time. He has been so controlled, so measured this weekend, and every time that our reporters have asked, are you thinking about the World Championship? He said, no, I might think about it on the last day. I just need to get through and position myself against Richard, and that's exactly what he's done.
He's really, I've never seen anyone so far away from dropping off the edge of the road. Even these muddy conditions, Marcus just driving down the middle of the road, hardly putting any attitude on the car, staying right, straight and narrow.
The big man is bringing the Peugeot 206 home. Remember, he only had to finish in the top 5. He's certainly done that. And Marcus Gronholm is world champion for 2000. What a marvellous achievement. Timo Rautiainen knows it as well. Fantastic achievement. A very special day for Richard Burns. He may not be world champion, but he does create some British rally history, because there's never been a Brit to win 3 consecutive Rally of Great Britain events. Eric Carlson did it, Timo Mäkinen did it, and now Richard Burns. What a fantastic achievement for the 29-year-old from Oxfordshire. With his long-time co-driver Robert Reid of Scotland, they make a brilliant partnership, and they will again be in the World Championship hunt next year.
Yes, a fantastic finish. Margam Country Park, horns, hooters ablaze as Burns wins the Rally of Great Britain. Only 6th fastest, but even he won't care about that.
Richard, do we congratulate you on winning your 3rd Network Q, or commiserate that you're not world champion? Well, I don't think you should commiserate, because Marcus has proved to be a fantastic driver this year.
and he deserved to win the championship. I'm very happy to still be in the rally after what happened on Friday in the morning, and to get back into the lead and to win the third in a row. That feels good, that part. But I have to say I'm happy for Marcus as well, of course.
And already we'll be talking about 2001, having come so close this year. You'll be raring to go in Monte Carlo in January.
I will be, yeah. And well, it's fantastic to win here. It's difficult. So many fans in the stage in Margam there, seeing them at the side of the road. I wish I had time to wave to them all, but I don't.
But he's a nice lad, Marcus. Can't begrudge him the world champion.
Absolutely not. You know, he's driven under massive pressure here and also in Australia, and he's made no mistakes. So, you know, I've been beaten by a better driver in this year, so I have to do better next year.
And after the hard work was over, the world champions-elect returned to accept the adulation of their team.
Fini le boulot, fini le boulot.
You are looking very, very happy now.
Yes.
Is it really sinking in now?
Yeah, it's good.
I have to say one thing, is you just seem such a popular champion. We saw the reaction of Juha Kankkunen and Tommy Mäkinen after you won at Margam, and all the other drivers.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know why, but okay, it's a new driver, so it comes in, so okay, Tommy won 4 in a row, so maybe we need a new one.
He did very well, very good drive under the pressure all the time over the weekend. He seems to be a very professional driver. It's been definitely 3 long days, and he did very well, no mistakes, very good.
This guy has, in my opinion, 2 big chances: a very happy family life, a countryside roots, and a tough battle to succeed in getting a good team working for him, and he working for a good team. Marcus is already a star of the rally world, but he will never be a victim of the rally system.
Now the Finns like a party, don't they? Don't there be big parties in Finland tonight?
Maybe, I don't know. And we will have party also here, I think.
Richard Burns did win the Rally of Great Britain 3 in a row, a great achievement. And there to welcome him home, his mum and his grandma.
Wasn't that a happy scene? So the final stage had been survived, mission completed in a way for both Richard Burns and also the new world champion Marcus Gronholm. Tommy Mäkinen in 3rd and Carlos Sainz in 4th. And after the Bridge End celebration, it was then the celebration back at the official finish here in front of Cardiff City Hall. He was 2nd in the rally, but the new world champion Marcus Gronholm with co-driver Timo Rautiainen. Richard Burns, the rally winner, with co-driver Robert Reid. For the 3rd year in succession, the winners of the Network Q Rally of Great Britain. And then the champagne celebration. 79 finishers from 160 starters, but it's Gronholm and Burns who capture the headlines tonight.